Welcome to AI Business and the Human Edge. I'm Simone.liv.cr, founder of Freedom Sun, and for over 2 decades, I've worked with Fortune 500 companies, celebrities, and thousands of entrepreneurs, helping them build not just profitable, but purpose-driven businesses. And now, we're standing at a turning point. AI is reshaping how we build, think, and lead. It's changing what's possible and also asking us to remember who we are. This podcast is your space to explore the innovation that moves us forward and the intuition that keeps us human. Together, we'll uncover the tools, stories, and insights that help you lead with clarity, create with courage, and stay human, even in a world run by algorithms. Because the real edge, it's still human. AI business and the human edge. Let's get going. So what I want to do right now as we start this podcast series is give you a foundational understanding of AI and how it's actually applicable in your business, some use cases, some areas already that you focus on, and also opportunities for you not only to be more productive, but also to see that productivity in your business. After we've gotten the fundamental understanding, that's when we're going to start diving into more topics. So we're going to learn actually from other business owners how they're integrating AI, how they're using AI. We're going to hear from actually businesses that have their whole business on AI, what they're doing. And then we're also going to hear from the human edge on actually how is this impacting us as humans, as leaders. So this is going to be a very holistic approach to you building your business with AI as a leader. So buckle up, let's go, because this episode, what we're going to dive into are actually some use cases on being able to use AI in your business. Now, stats are showing if you're not on the AI wave, you are going to be left behind. And if we actually think about that from a leverage standpoint, that is a very fascinating way to start thinking about it. Not that your competitors are, completely going to beat you, but I want you to just think about how could you actually run your business more smoothly with being able to integrate AI. Will AI replace humans? There are aspects that are really boring, really mundane jobs that humans actually aren't the best at, that using some automation or using a form of artificial intelligence to support that business function will actually allow that human to have much more agency, much more ability to lead themselves. Right? So I think that thinking about and assessing how you can use AI in your business at this moment is really going to leave a lot of money on the table and a lot of time that you are continuing to spend and lost in inefficiencies. So I want you to actually think about, yes, you want to be incorporating AI into your business. And I'm going to right now walk you through some of the key areas that you can actually focus on while integrating AI into your business. So the first area would be automation and productivity. So where in your business can you actually automate certain tasks? Where can employees become more productive? And where are those areas that are quick wins, let's say, that you maybe actually have neglected, and putting some focus and putting some attention there would actually supercharge where you are in your business. So number one is customer service. Right now, y'all know I'm an American living in Portugal, and we do not have the same customer service as we do in the United States. In fact, most of Europe, a lot of Europeans could learn some of the American best practices of customer service. And when we think about it, most businesses, even if you're brick and mortar, even if you're servicing companies, most of the customer service is what? It's held online, right? So if you can actually have customer service, chat bots, virtual assistants, even voice AI to be trained to handle customer and employee inquiries, to source information, and to actually, close tickets, help your people, help your customers, that is going to be a massive win for you. And this stuff is not hard. At Freedom Sun, we actually help you deploy chatbots. We help you deploy voice AI. So what this actually is, this is you training an AI agent These agents can learn very fast, right? So it's machine learning, so it will continue to learn about how do they support customers. And so being able to outsource a component of your customer service is going to be massive for your business. And when you think about customer service, there is customer service with potential clients, right? So this is maybe actually supporting that through your sales, but then it's also existing maybe tickets. If you have customer issues, that's a whole nother set of learning. And so you can actually deploy these chat bots and these agents to specialize in all aspects of your customer service. So that's huge. Another one is task automation. So, one of the core components, though, with task automation is that you want to be understanding actually what is the best process for that task. Like, have we in our business actually have standard operating procedures so that we can actually automate some of these tasks? So, once you're very clear on this different tasks in a different area in your business, it's going to be much faster to automate that. So you can use tools to automate routines like transcribing minutes of meetings. So right now I use a tool, there's several tools, but I use Read AI that comes into all of my meetings that transcribes what happened, who said what. I can actually get the tone and understand how people were responding to the meeting, the sentiment of that meeting. That's really powerful. And you can imagine if you wanted to do that with your sales calls, if you wanted to do that with your coaching calls or with your team calls, you are able to assess real time how things are actually happening. But that's just one area. You can also use automations to draft emails. You can also use automations to manage project workflows. So again, you can get very complex in the different types of automation. What you first want to do is really map out in your business what are the areas that are kind of low hanging fruit and what are the areas already that you can standardize and already have standard procedures around. And are there any opportunities in that you can automate? And the areas that don't have standard procedures, well, where else could you also automate? This is really massive. The next one under automation and productivity is workforce optimization. So, what is really cool is that AI is like this data and analyzer, right? So, it can analyze and help you predict certain things for your staffing needs. Maybe if you have a lot of different appointments, what if you just started analyzing different trends for when people were looking and booking appointments? It can optimize schedules. It can ensure the right number of employees are actually available. So if you have a business that is literally staff based, customer serving, and labor costs are something that you want to focus on, and understanding productivity of your staff during those times, being able to use AI to analyze this can actually help make your staff more productive. And then one of the favorite things that I've used is content creation. So, content creation, I know a lot of small businesses really struggle with the marketing aspect, getting content out. Maybe you can't afford a full-time social media manager. Maybe, you've actually been able to build business through word of mouth and referrals, and you haven't really leaned into the running ads, creating content, organic, and thought leadership, but you do know that that's really important. And actually, thought leadership is especially important right now in the age of AI. So, one of the things that you could actually do for automation is content creation. You've got to find the right tools. One of the tools I've been trying out, not perfect, is Hollow, and it just like literally creates really cool ads based off of your customers or based off of your competitors, creates it, iterates based off of AI, right? So it takes in, certain large language models into creating it. So you can really look at content creation, but content creation is much more than social media. This could be email marketing. This could be even writing job descriptions, right? So there's so much when it comes to content creation that you can also be creating. Look out for some podcasts on the best practices related to content creation. How do you actually maintain that human voice? I have a lot of freebies available on Freedom Sun that can support you in making sure that you have really smart content creation that really does maintain that human edge and communicates effectively. So do check that out. So that's number one, is automation and productivity. So imagine using AI in your business just for automation and productivity alone. You're already going to be able to build so much more in such a small amount of time, right? So imagine that you're going to have employee time saving, you're going to have more efficiency, or if you didn't have staff, that there is an agent doing that thing in your business to free up more time for yourself to actually be in that leadership capacity. The next one that is really powerful is data analysis and decision making. As a former CFO, one of the things that I will always tell you is you want to make sure to build a profitable business, you need to know what's happening. And to build and know what's happening, you need to analyze data. That comes from your numbers, that comes from your sales analytics, that comes from everything. So being able to analyze data allows you to make more powerful decisions. We call it data-driven decisions. Okay, so how do we actually analyze all that data? Because most of the times, business owners don't even have the reports or the dashboards that they want to be able to see. And maybe they don't even have the accounting fully dialed in to actually be able to see those decisions. So obviously you need to get those things first. But let's say you don't have those dashboards yet. What would happen when you actually pull data in? You pull sales data in, you pull financial data in. All of a sudden, you are able to see. So all of a sudden, you are able to see actually real-time predictive analytics. You are able to see and analyze what has happened in the past. It can help you forecast in the future, help you predict cash flow. Other things, that gives you consumer insight, so you can analyze your conversations, you can really understand your buyers, you can understand feedback. Imagine if you are a service-based business, you've got a ton of Google reviews, and you just copy and paste, you scrape the data from, let's say, your Google business profile, you scrape all that data, all of a sudden you've got an arsenal full of information that you can use in your sales pitches, in the way that you talk with your clients, as well as client feedback. You can also do that with your competitors, see what's happening with them, see where they're weak, where you could be strong, or vice versa, where they're strong and you're not. So being able to use this information real time to analyze massive amounts of data is so important for you. And then also, what's so funny from a more of a financial angle, if you're a bigger business, you can think about where there could be fraud detection, where you can look at maybe transactions and see what's maybe not making sense or what are red flags. Another core component that you can use in your business is creativity and innovation. So one of the things that Einstein said is you can't really change your current problem with the same level of thinking. So if your current team is capped at creativity, you don't have a budget, to hire an outside business advisor or somebody else, or you don't even know exactly what it is that you need, being able to use a large language learning model like ChatGPT, like Claude, or several others that maybe have an AI wrapper, using those, but wrapped in with their own kind of formula and sweet sauce, what's that going to allow you to do? That's going to allow you to be more creative. So creative with your thoughts, creative with your content, creative with your design. So being able to use design with different ways that you can market, design with different ways that you can talk to your ideal clients. But also, if you've got somebody tacky on your team, this is where code generation, or you finally being able to maybe create some code because you haven't had that opportunity yet, because you didn't have the budget or the knowledge, it allows you to create code. I have a client, somebody on their team who learned just basics and now is able to create smart code, saving tons of hours and time with this manual task. Code related to scripts and Google Sheets. So it's not that you have to be super techie to be able to do this, but you have to have an open mind and have some time to learn it. And then, of course, the marketing creatives. So generating images and assets and creating design mockups are also some of the things that you can do in your business. So right now, these are like basics. These are basic things that you can actually do in your business to stay competitive, to build that edge for your business, to gain more time back, to be able to make more money. So the question I have for you is, which of these ones have you already leaned into and it's already working for you? If you leaned into that thing that actually is generating you more profit or more time, and you just 10% increase that, where would you actually have even more success in your business. And if you haven't yet, explored any of these, then the question is, how can you in the next week block off 2 hours of your time? If you've got a team, get your most creative people in your team and do an analysis and an assessment of your business. Where in our business do we have an opportunity to leverage AI? Right now, this is the opportunity. Things are moving at like rapid pace. And it's not that I want you to, get swept into the FOMO, oh my God, this like fear of missing out. No, I want you to be able to leverage this powerful tool to help you get ahead. And if you don't start thinking about this right now, the question is, when will you be able to? So please do those things. And I will see you at the next episode of AI Business and the Human Edge. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. I am just starting this podcast to help you build a profitable business, but also help you explore what is happening in this world of AI and how do we actually maintain our human edge as leaders and as business owners. So every feedback that you give me, I'm going to look at. I'm going to make sure that this podcast will move in that direction because we're growing this together. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a beautiful day.